All right, Lucas, Isaac, Parker, we're up to which one? The 1956 Salem 1500 XL, also known as the 1956 Ford F100, which I think is a cool truck. It's the 29-story car. So we'll go ahead and read about this. Hi, I've heard that you're a decent professional. Decent? Dude, we're on the 29-story car. We're way past decent at this point in the guide series. I found this car at my great-grandpa's in an old tool shed, buried under some old things and other trash. I have no idea how long it stood there. I know it from old photos from my grandparents. This once beautiful Saline 1500 needs some love and attention from somebody experienced. From what I remember, it wasn't really spared by previous users. In spite of it all, I think that it's not the worst base for rebuilding this classic piece. Some seems a shame to waste such a car. Apparently, it's a rather rare configuration. Please do what you can to make it look like new. If all goes well, maybe I'll manage to sell it to a museum. We'll see. Let me know when you're done. Repair or replace body panels, change the oil, spray at the factory color, and there'll be extra tasks for us. Well, let's take this order, shall we? Hey, look at this shiny new truck. It is missing a few panels, isn't it? Let's see. Just looking at the order. So it gives us a list of things already. And if I go to examine mode, yep, those are things that are actually missing from the vehicle, not things that are broken. They're just not there. See how it's missing a head and intake. So got a lot of missing parts here. Okay. Missing body panels, clearly. And if we go to the repair or replace, front bumper. Alright, so I think it's just a replace body panels. It doesn't look like they want us to repair anything. Right? Like the door, hood. No. They just want us to replace things. Alright. So we'll start with that. X. And what I'm doing is I'm assembling. And then I'm Xing panels and parts that were missing. Go to the bodywork station. We need a trunk, which is a tailgate, technically not a trunk. Taillight B, alright, front fender. Mirror. Rear window. Alright, so it's got some of the body tuned pieces. Alright, so I think, oh, and we need a license plate. And as you remember from my previous guides, I'm going to scroll to the bottom and I'm buying a Wyoming plate. Alright, let's check. Did we do the body business? Left side mirror, left taillight B, and a rear left fender. Rear left fender. Oh, we missed a taillight there, didn't we? Thought we put that on. Yeah, we already had that. Alright, body. Left side mirror. Bought a side mirror. Just didn't put it on. Rear left fender. Rear left fender. That the piece? Yeah, it's not repairable. So we gotta go to the Body workshop. Rear left fender. Assemble. So I think the body work. Rear left fender. Did I not replace the rear left fender? Did I put the wrong one on? My goodness. Assemble mode. There's the new one. Okay, body panels are fixed. Normal mode. Let's go to the car wash because before we paint the car, you have to wash it or you get hit with a fee. Plus, as with the other videos, I like washing cars for the customer. I'm just thinking that's a nice thing to do. And then we're going to go ahead and detail up the interiors. All right, and then let's move car to the paint shop. And we'll go ahead and paint her up with the factory colors. Paint. Factory color is white. Paint it. And it's white with a little bit of patina. You know, patina. Not rust, patina. All right, let's move that to lifter 1 here. Pop her up in the air. Now, as far as diagnostics, when you're missing most everything on an engine here, I don't think there's going to be a lot of diagnostic stuff that we're going to be doing. I can tell you this engine looks like it's in ill repair. We got push rods that need replacing, that are missing, and a pile of parts that are not discovered. I mean, honestly, I think probably the easiest thing to do, let's just go to examine mode. Let's examine on the engine. Probably going to be suspension pieces. Yep. Examine mode is pretty useful, honestly. So go to normal mode, all of a sudden, we're down to a few pages of parts that are still not discovered. My suspicion here, if I had to be a suspicioning guy, which I'm suspicioning, we're gonna have to pull this engine. So let's just go down that path. Let's pop the drive shaft. Remember, 4 bolts at the front. Actually, I'm kind of close to the bolts on this side. That's cool. And 4 bolts at the rear, which we're way the hell far away from at that time. This fuel filter looks bad. Fuel tank looks bad. Part mount. Yeah. I'll double check the list. I'm just assuming this is going to be fuel tank, fuel pump. Yep, right there. All right, if we want this thing to run, which I assume is the customer's intent, is to have this thing running, we're going to need a fuel system. Now, if you think about it, what's going to make an engine run, right? Well, you need fuel. So you need a fuel delivery system, right? You're going to need that. So if you have fuel, what else do you need? You need sparkles. Sparkles meaning you need electricity coming from a battery, going through spark plug wires to sparkulators, sometimes through an ignition system like a distributor, lightning can, lightning whirler, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's, if you have that, then what else do you need? Really just all the engine. You need the engine complete. Some compression would be ideal, but you should be able to get fire if you have spark, fuel, and that should fire her up, right? You know. All right, let's pull starter. We're missing a bolt here. There's the rusty bolt. That's off. Let's pull this front exhaust piece. Oh shoot, we forgot to drain the oil. There's actually oil in this thing? It doesn't have cylinder heads and it has oil? Well, according to the dipstick, there is no oil in here. So what oil are we draining? All right. The game is telling us we have to drain oil on an engine that is incomplete. We'll drain the oil. 1 drop of oil. Wow. I tell you, fellers. Pull the engine out. All right, engine's out. Let's install the engine on the stand, and let's just do a teardown. We kind of got old hat at this from previous builds. So we'll just pop through this stuff, remove what we can, and then we'll go through the process of rebuilding this motor, top down, so to speak. Maybe we'll get lucky in some of these parts we pull, like the head, what have you, will be repairable. You know, you never know. It looks, you know, just that eyeball test of the amount of surface rust. This looks like an unrepairable, unsalvageable engine. But maybe it'll be above 15%. 15% condition is the condition you have to be above before you'll be able to repair a part. If it's a repairable part. There are some parts that are not repairable. Just think of it as an item that is just a wear item that's going to wear out, like a brake pad. You can't repair a brake pad. You're just going to eat it up. Could you repair a body panel? Sure. Could you repair a light bulb? No, it wears out. And that, if you think in that philosophy and you're like, is this a part that I can repair? Can I repair the sparkulators? i.e. spark plugs? No, they're a wear item. You're not going to be able to repair that. Generally, things that are solid metal that don't have a wear component to them are probably repairable in the game. And you'll become astute to which parts you know are going to be repairable parts and which ones are just not. And there's even, if you go to the Steam guide list, there's guides on Steam about which parts are repairable and what have you. So don't take my word for it. You could look it up. So I think as far as guides going forward, we'll finish up these story cars. We have this car, 29th story car, with the 30th story car. So the guide save will have all the story cars done. Then we're going to do one more guide video beyond that. And I think what we're going to do is just I'll give you some of my thoughts about where you would take the game from here. What are some options of things that you could do? What are some things I haven't thought of? I mean, there's too many to list. But where you would take your sandbox mechanic career from here, as far as things that you could do, things that you don't have to do. I mean, there is a lot of ways you can play a game. A game like this, especially a game that doesn't have developer designed endpoints, right? Like you play Mario Brothers, you're going to get to the end. I mean, there's progression, a two-way progression. These types of games, there's no progression. There's no endpoint. There's no right way to play it. There's no wrong way to play it. You play it the way you want to play it. So there'll be some things here that maybe you don't want to ever go to the car auction. Maybe you never want to go to the junkyard. Maybe you only want to go to Barnes and just like only find Fords at Barnes. Okay, that's your deal. Do it. Maybe you'll like. I only want to do V8 engines. I only want to do 4-cylinders, and I just want a whole inventory of 4-cylinder cars that are all green and yellow. Okay, you know, do you? You know, find the things that you want to do in the game and roll with it. But anyway, that'll be the last guide video. We'll kind of contemplate things that I would do, things that I enjoy doing. I'll show you some. Oh my goodness, failed on that. I'm gonna keep up the 3-star performance car drag series that I kind of started. That'll give you some tips on where to go. This guy's grandparents' truck's gonna be a lot better when we get done with her. All right. So we got a pile of parts that we were able to repair. Camshaft was not repairable. Crank was. Pistons, we have nice pistons that we have saved from our previous purchases, remember? So I didn't even have to go to the store for this. Alright, pistons are in. Rod caps. Which, rod caps, interestingly, are a repairable part. And we had a pile of rod caps already, plus the ones that we were able to pull off of this vehicle engine and repair. There we go. Rod caps are on. Pop on the oil pan. Fill tray. We don't have. And again, I'm just going to start building up the guide save with a pile of spare parts. Flywheel. Well, I don't remember if that was on our list of parts to repair, but we're going to get a new one. I feel like if we've already gone to the trouble of placing most of these parts, let's just replace the rest. Engine head. And if you remember, we actually had an engine head because I overbought on, what, 2 or 3 story orders ago? So we already have a second engine head, and we were able to repair the one that we pulled off of this motor. And I think we should have, can I put on the push rods? Nope, we need the intake on first. Intake we don't have. Let's get us an intake. 2-carb intake. There we go. Now we should be able to put our, well, we can't put our push rods on yet. Oh, we need a camshaft, duh. So we need a new cam. nice new camshaft. Now we can put on our push rods, which we have old crappy push rods, so we're just going to get new push rods. 2 per cylinder. Now, we could just buy 2 per cylinder, or do what I would normally do, and I'll just buy a pile. So if you buy 50, there's 16 per car. You got enough for a few cars, right? And as you can see, push rods were not repairable. Same for rocker arms. Rocker arm. All right, let's buy, same deal. You just buy a pile. So we're building up our mechanics inventory of parts. Another way to build up your repair parts, which I guess I could, and this will be in our last guide video as far as tips. When you go to a barn or a junkyard, you could think of it 2 ways. You could buy things that you're going to flip for things that you'll flip for a profit, like a car, which we've done that on that cash series. You could also purchase every single part at the barn or junkyard. Parts that, oh, we don't want to put those on. Parts that are repairable, repair them, and then just keep them. Then you, whatever parts you pulled out of the junkyard, you have, let's say, engine heads that you found there that were at 20%. Repair all the engine heads, you got a pile of engine heads. Engine blocks, right? Old transmissions. Got them from the junkyard and rebuild them. Now you have a pile of inventory, which would be cheaper than the original purchase of the engine block or the transmission or whatever it is you purchased. That's a sweet deal. So you just get a whole bunch of parts there, right? And then that's another way to slowly build your inventory of parts. The other thing you do is just flip them. Just like flipping the cars. Buy the parts, repair them, and flip them. Meaning you sell them for a short profit. That's reasonable. What I did on my original save is I would go to junkyards as I was building money, and I'd buy all the parts, find a car to restore and flip the car, and then I would keep all those parts in my inventory. And I have a crap ton of parts. Body panels I kept in my warehouse, and as I'd go repair a Ford F100, I'd go to my warehouse, find the body panels that I was missing. I probably had them from junkyard runs, put those panels on, and then go through the process of, I didn't need to buy this. Oh well. I got an extra. Anyway, that's another way of stockpiling parts. There's an exhaust manifold on this side. And we're just going to go as we go. Power steering pump, alternator, ammeter. Let's get a new timing chain. Probably need a timing cover too. crank pulley we should have. Oh, we don't. Oh, we got a couple now at least. Water pump. The rotor. Well, gosh dang it. Well, come on, clip. Alright, now we should be set on clips for a while. Got a couple of belts, and then there'll be a fan here, I'm sure. Yep. The old school fan that you just love to lean over when you're working on a car, I'm sure. Some wires. Get the sparkles into the engine, right? Alright, so a couple of carbs. Carb 1. Carb 2. And there'll be a air filtre base. Air filtre. And an air filter cap. Alright. That looks like a good engine build, right? I agree. Let's take it off the engine. Stand. Pop her in there. Move her back. And we'll pop in here. Check our car status. Front exhaust pipe we're missing. Front steering knuckles we got to deal with. U-bolts we got to deal with. Sway bar. Wheel hub caps. And there's some parts we have not discovered. What were the other tasks? Other tasks. Change fluids, headlight, wheels, and windshield washer fluid. Alright. So if we go to our examine mode. Alright, they're fine with those washer fluid bottles. How are we doing on our... Alright, so we haven't tested those. Part mount. Put that on. Let's add some oil first. Alright, unmount. Put some oil in this bad boy, and then let's run some tests on her. See if she'll fire off, right? Oh, it's an old car. No onboard diagnostic scanner. Engine needs to be complete. Alright, so engine is not yet complete. do an electron multimeter test at least. Not sure what we're missing as far as this engine being incomplete, but to each tester her own, I suppose. Fuses are fine. That didn't get added, right? Nope, they're fine with 30% fuses. Red. Let's check on the tires, I guess. Probably because we don't have a starter in right now that it's not letting us go. Fine with the tires, yep. Alright, well, that's about all we're going to be doing right now. Let's go in here to part mount. Is there anything in the engine bay we're missing? Nope. I'm going to take battery out for now. Let's charge on the battery. Put a little brake fluid juice in here. There we go. Did they say change the brake fluid? They did. Well, gosh darn it. Let's drain the master cylinder first. Let's drain the other fluids too, just so we're ahead of it. Drain out the washer fluid, coolant. Not that there was that much, and power steering fluid drain. Alright. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to pull this master cylinder because it looked terrible. No, they're saying it's fine. Part unmount. Now we'll refill her with brake fluids. There's a good brake fluid. A little bit of power steering fluid. And a little bit of washer fluid. Washer fluid and the coolants. By this time, battery should be charged. We'll go grab that, dump that in the engine bay here real quick too. Part mount. Battery. Alright, let's pop her in the air. And I'm going to address the rear situation here. Check on the rear brakes. They look just awful, honestly. Excuse me. Actually, everything about this rear suspension system just looks terrible. I know there was parts of it that the guy was okay with, but man, they look bad. So I'm actually going to pull this whole rear suspension system. This is the easy rear suspension system anyway. There's not that many parts. At least before we hook up the drive shaft, I don't want to get so far into this and then have to go in and take out the, the leaf springs in the back here or something. U-bolts. Couple of those. And that. That's the rear suspension. Now, if I look at the car status, there's still parts that are not discovered, so they weren't too worried about the parts we had pulled. Nothing I can lathe, obviously. I can repair on these brakes. Now, honestly, I don't think this was part of this guy's problem. Like, he was fine with all these parts that are at 35%. But you can see, it's like a credit, or a buck to repair these. $7 to repair the leaf springs. 14 bucks. But, anywho, I'm going to go ahead and repair on these. Partially because I know there was like 2 U-bolts I had to repair on the back. I'm just going to roll through the parts I can repair. And we'll just fix them up. And it's this guy's grandpa's truck, right? If it was my grandpa's truck, I'd want it done right. Did they put the rims on the list of things to repair? Rear shock absorbers, small rubber bushings. Alright, I don't see the wheels, so they're fine with the rims being crap. See? Look at how nice that is. Nicely repaired up. Nice new leaf springs. Rear shock absorbers. Buy a dozen of these bad boys. The original drums on because they didn't say anything about it. But we did repair the shoes because they were repairable. Drums are not repairable, but the shoes are. I don't get that, but that's fine. U-bolts on. Maybe. New shock. Repaired drum cylinders. Shoes. And the original drums. Hop on the wheel. And some small rubber bushings. So that part should be done. Pop up here, put on that nice repaired trans. And a starter. Exhaust sections. And it'll pop on the drive shaft. Alright. Exhaust looks complete. Alright. Let's check our status here. Tie rods, sway bar links, and then some parts that we have not yet discovered, which I'm betting are either front brakes or some front suspension things like U-bolts that we are missing. So we're going to do pretty similar setup from what we did to the rear. Let's just tear it down, honestly. See what's repairable, see what we have to deal with, and go from there. These are not big ticket items here. in the suspension world here. So if it goes a little quicker to just repair some parts that you didn't have to deal with, and it makes a customer happy, why not, right? All right. Let's get that upper suspension arm off, and we can get the knuckle out. All right, let's drop the U-bolts out of the cross member here. Game has an affinity for saying that these rubber bushings always need to be replaced. These 4 that go in the cross member in the front of most cars, they're a fan of saying that those always go bad, apparently. Get this wheel off. Pop off the brakes in the front. Link. I was pretty sure they said the sway bar was bad. Like I said, I'm just dropping everything out of this dang thing. Because there was a plethora of parts that... Oh, this is for kicks. Check that we have all the parts discovered. We do. So it was in the front suspension. Wheel, double wishbone shock absorbers need to be fixed. Front shock absorber caps, front springs, front knuckles, outer tie rods, rubber bushings, sway bar end link, wheel hubs, and bearing caps. So, as far as things that we can do, there was vented discs on the front. We're going to go ahead and turn them on the lathe. We're going to repair the brake parts and the suspension arms because they are repairable parts, and we'll do this as the brakes are lathing. Lathe up the next one. Now the 2 that'll probably be a bigger expense to do this kind of repair on, it's going to be the steering rack and the cross member. The upper suspension arms and everything else, I mean, they're 10, 20 bucks. Not a huge cost. Steering rack, let's see. 92 bucks to repair it. We didn't get a full repair on the first time. We had to do it 3 times, so 38 bucks for the cross member, 28 bucks. I mean, just not huge expense, and now it's properly repaired. So now we can pop into here, and let's put her back together. Cross member, new bushings. Pretty sure that was on our list of things to repair was those rubber bushings. Steering rack. Sway bar was unrepairable, so we're gonna have to get a new sway bar. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that was on our list of things to repair. Tie rods. Oh. We need to buy that knuckle. Just gonna buy half a dozen. We'll buy a dozen. That'd cover you for 6 cars that have to have both knuckles replaced, right? Suspension arms with new rubber bushings. And check it, we already have a wishbone shock absorber put together. Nice new end link, upper suspension arm with new bushings. And we'll put on the knuckle cover, front wheel hub, nice new bearing, nice turned rotor. We'll replace his pads for him. because we already did the rest of the brake work. Cap. No pop on his wheel, which is the old crappy wheel. We'll call it not crappy, I'm sorry. Vintage. Vintage wheel. Rubber bushing. Rubber bushing. And we'll get that knuckle on this side. And tie rod. Outer tie rod. Lower suspension arm. Put on that shock absorber. Pre-built shock absorber. End link. Upper. And knuckle cover. Front wheel hub. Bearing. Bearing cap. Disc. Brake pad. And a caliper. There we go. Front is done. Now we just have to do alignments, I believe. Check our car status. So all the repair parts are done. We just have to align the wheels and the lights. Move to the test path. We'll go align the lights first. Left one's aligned. Right one's aligned. Then we'll pop in here and align the wheels. Save the game. Check our car status. Green across the board. Let's finish the order. There we go. And we leveled up, and we got a case. Yes, I'd like to open the case. We'll do 1 and 2. Always good to start. 1 and 2. Credits and EXP. Not bad, right? And then let's sell all parts below 63%. Then we'll get rid of those combo wish shock absorbers. And we should be sort by condition. One more shock absorber. Okay. So we've got rid of all the bad parts, saved it up. We have a good inventory of parts built up. We're up to 115,000. We have 5,000 scrap accumulated so far through our story cars. And we have one more story car to go. The 2010 Olson GTR AMC. That'll be Guide 30. So, Lucas, Isaac, Parker, I hope you enjoyed this one. We will see you in the next guide video and pick up on the, well, Mercedes, but they call it an Olson GTR. We'll see you in the next one.